Welcome to Seek Reality with your host, Roberta Grimes. Author and attorney Roberta Grimes will explore and illustrate how she, after an extraordinary experience of light in childhood, has discovered channels of communication to the afterlife and how these implications have an effect on our everyday lives. Please welcome the host of Seek Reality, Roberta Grimes.
Welcome to Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Joyous conversations about what the afterlife evidence and modern science combine to tell us is true about our one reality. You have nothing to fear. You are eternal and you are perfectly loved. Knowing the truth changes everything. Now, here's Roberta.
Welcome to Seek Reality. I'm Roberta Grimes, and I'm delighted that you can be with us today. 3 years ago, I wrote a blog post called Pets in the Afterlife that was picked up by Google in June of 2016. Since then, I've been hearing from bereaved pet parents almost daily, and that post is, believe it or not, by far the most visited spot on my website. No matter what else I'm doing, it's the most important spot there. Judging from my contacts from readers and listeners, our grief for dogs can be even more acute than there's our grief for children who die. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but as I've read all these agonizing messages, I've come to understand why that might be true. Nearly everyone who is completely torn up at the loss of a beloved dog or cat feels tremendous guilt about things done or not done. The pet was let outside, subtle signs of illness were not noticed, on and on. They have all these reasons. Even just, I had him euthanized. Does he forgive me? Or, we didn't euthanize her. We should have done it. It's amazing how much grief there is. And the reasons may differ, but the grief is the common denominator with this grief for pets is so intractable. And the fact that our animals can't talk to us really, and afterlife signs from them are much less common than our signs from people, seems to further increase the pain of their loss. Please understand, everyone, that grief complicated by guilt is the worst problem you can have. You've got to get rid of the guilt. When I tell people who contact me that they really must get past the guilt, I tell them three things. First, the evidence is consistent and abundant that every animal you ever have loved will be waiting for you in the afterlife, now young and healthy, and jumping all over you, loving you more than ever. And second, every dog who ever has communicated with us, of which I'm aware, has expressed only gratitude and love to its pet parent, whether it was euthanized or not euthanized, and no matter what else the owner might have done. I have never heard of a single dog or cat or any animal that ever blamed a human being or felt anything but love and gratitude. And finally, the evidence suggests that our beloved pets can feel our grief for them, and it pains them very much, especially when it's complicated by guilt and the pet feels no anger at all about anything that ever was done. So whatever you do, forgive yourself, try to feel better, because that's frankly the only gift you now can give to your beloved little pet friend. It's a fact that dogs don't live long. I know someone who calls puppies pain in a fur wrapper. But we want our dogs to be healthy for as long as they can be. So this week we have a wonderful veterinarian who can empower us to take such better care of our beloved pets. Judy Morgan is a certified and accredited veterinary acupuncturist, chiropractitioner, and food therapist. Her books, she has 4 books out, but the latest is Yin Yang Nutrition for Dogs, Maximizing Health with Whole Foods, Not Drugs. And believe it or not, this book has been #1 in its category on Amazon for the past 6 months. Judy operates 2 veterinary hospitals that offer an integrative approach, combining holistic medicine with traditional Western techniques, which to me strikes as the perfect balance. Judy, I'm so thrilled you're with us. Welcome, and we're going to have fun with this.
We are, and I'm so thankful to be on your show. And I have to tell you that the day that I met you, you changed my life.
Oh, my.
And for the better. It was what I was standing in line behind you at a media event, and I remember tapping, and I was looking over your shoulder at what you did, and I tapped you on the shoulder and just said, Roberta, could you please just tell me whether or not I will see my pets in the afterlife? And you told me what you said at the beginning of the show, which you just repeated. And I mean, you changed my life because,
I'm so glad.
And I was one of those people who had so much guilt. And I actually had a communicator tell me once that one of my little dogs needed me to let go of the guilt because I was holding her stuck in place, and she needed to move on, and I needed to forgive myself. And, it brings tears to my eyes when I hear you talk about them being young and jumping all over me because, it's going to be an incredible reunion because I've had so many, and I frankly, I can't wait. And it sounds like a weird thing to say, like I can't wait. It's like, it's not that I can't wait to die, but I can't wait to see them again.
I think everyone that I know who works in this field feels that we can't wait. We know we have work to do here. We're not trying to short circuit that work. But I have a friend who, whenever I speak with her, she says, well, one day closer. And that's how we feel. I mean, it's going to be a great day when we get to go home. And I'm so looking forward to it. But at the same time, you have wonderful work that you're doing here. And you're a lot younger than I am too. So you're going to have to stay longer. That's just the rule.
Oh, boy.
But I should just add too that Judy and I have been friends for a while. And another thing which I think I got her hooked on was doing podcasting and radio. That's true, right?
Yeah, absolutely. My show, we're just in the beginning of our second year, and on the platform that I'm on, the Naturally Healthy Pets podcast is #1 on that platform. And I think it speaks to how much we love our animals and how much we want to connect and do the right thing with them.
Isn't it fabulous? It is just to be able to do this work and help people is the most wonderful joy that you can possibly have. And anyone who's listening and thinking, gee, I wish I could help people more, there is work waiting for you to do. Just as Judy and I each independently have found, there's work waiting. Just, offer yourself to God to do whatever work God has set up for you, and it's amazing how well that works. You get the work, and it's always what you would most like to do. So we've had a little love fest here for a moment, but please tell us a little bit about your background, Judy, and how you got interested in holistic treatment of pets.
It's been a long journey. I actually graduated from a Midwest veterinary school 34 years ago, and I can't believe it's been that long.
Oh, no. You don't seem that old. She's very young, everyone. I am amazed to tell you she doesn't look that old. But that's wonderful. You have experience, which is a good thing.
But, going to a Midwest school, that's the Corn Belt, very, very traditional, and 34 years ago. And at that time, it was even unusual for a woman to hold that position. And even, we were the minority, and now women are by far the majority. So I practiced very, very traditional medicine for about 10 years, and I frustrated by, kind of the obvious things. You've got only so many things in your toolbox, and you're using so many medications and then more medications to treat the side effects of the first medications. And as far as, anything nutritionally, we had processed prescription diets that we could prescribe, but I never felt like the pets did well on them. And, shockingly, it was a funny story. I accidentally took a chiropractic course for animals, and I didn't realize that's what I was doing.
Oh, gee. Well, talk about spirit working in your life. That's exactly the kind of thing spirit would do.
And, I call it fate, and I'm a firm believer in fate or things aligning the way that they're supposed to. Yes. And so, partway through the course, I was like, holy cow, I think this guy's talking about chiropractic for animals. We don't do that. I'd never even had chiropractic on me. So, but I started using what I learned, immediately, and the changes were miraculous. And then, of course, I had guilt because I was like, oh my gosh, all those dachshunds and bassets and long-backed dogs that we euthanized because they were paralyzed and they couldn't walk and they had these problems. And I thought, I euthanized them needlessly and unknowingly.
Oh, wow.
Then we had to go through, process all of that. But I thought, well, if this one modality could do that much, then I should look into what else is out there. And then I just went crazy. I started studying homeopathy and raindrop therapy and essential oils and acupuncture and food. And you name it. I had my finger, crystal therapy, light therapy, energy work. And I had my fingers into everything. And after, about a year and a half of floundering around and going, holy cow, there's no way I can learn all of this. I said, I'm going to have to focus. And,
yes.
So my focus became traditional Chinese veterinary medicine, which has 4 branches: acupuncture, herbs, food therapy, and Tuina, which is sort of combination massage chiropractic. And so,
okay, well, let's pause for a moment and celebrate this sentence. Traditional Chinese, holistic. They've been doing this longer than we have. Is that what you're telling us?
Thousands of years.
Oh my goodness!
Thousands.
Veterinary we don't think of them as we think of them as eating dogs, not patting dogs. But you're saying they've been treating animals this way for thousands of years. I think that's wonderful and amazing.
Well, and it started, keeping their horses healthy because they needed the horses, as their war vehicle and, for running the plow. And, they were work animals and they needed them to be healthy. So they had to apply the same things that they, knew from an acupuncture and herbal standpoint for people. They said, well, we can apply this to our animals as well. So the Chinese veterinary medicine actually started very, very early.
Wow. I'm delighted to hear that, actually. I think that in many ways, the ancient Chinese were well ahead of us, and this is yet another way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing is, traditional science now kind of shuns acupuncture and herbalism and some of those things because they want double-blinded, placebo-verified studies, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's very hard to do sham acupuncture. I mean, if you put a needle in, you're going to get an effect.
Yes.
And it's kind of like, okay, well, 3,000 years of proof isn't enough. Huh.
That's part of the problem. When I talked to my husband actually today about what we would be talking about, he's a retired physician. I mean, all of this is like voodoo to him. It's amazing. Yes. Now, Judy and I, as I say, have known each other for a while, and I have some quotations from her that I'd just like to present to her and have her sort of expand on them. This one is really kind of surprising. Judy, you say most pet owners have been educated by veterinarians and pet food manufacturers that only processed pet foods sold by veterinarians and big companies will support good health for dogs and cats. Unfortunately, this couldn't be further from the truth. And let me say that I remember even in childhood, we were told that if you don't give your dog if you give your dog just table scraps, and of course scraps makes it sound like it's derogatory, if you don't give your dogs that nice can of dog food, the nice healthy kibble, the dog will get sick. Now, that's what I believed 50 plus years ago. What's the truth?
So the truth is we don't balance every meal that we eat, and we survive. Maybe we don't have complete vitamin coverage. Some of us have definite deficiencies because some of us have, very poor diets. Many people have chronic illness from eating only processed foods. If you look at the movie, Super Size Me, I have cousins who only do takeout food, fast food for every meal. Oh. And they are obese with many chronic medical problems. And it's a direct effect. I mean, it's not genetics. I come from the same line of genetics. It is a direct effect of what's being put into the body. Yes. And so we have that same problem with our animals. And so when I was a kid, I remember we had the Gaines burgers that, they basically looked like a little kind of a plasticky hamburger in the plastic pack. And, we would feed those to the dog, and we thought we were doing such a wonderful thing. And then after I went to vet school, I actually did one of the few things they taught us about nutrition was that those were horrible for pets because the biggest preservative in them was sugar. And so the only thing they said about them was, well, if you diagnose diabetes, well, they shouldn't eat those little plastic patties anymore. Oh, and that was the only bad thing they had to say about them. They were like, oh, well, yeah, they're fine for regular dogs. And well, no, they're not. It's all preservatives and dyes. And most of those things that are made to there are a lot of snacks on the market that are made to look like little sausages or little bacon strips. They're really wheat and corn fructose syrup and sugars and dyes that are formed to look like you're giving a meat treat. But if you actually read the ingredients, there's no meat in there. And pretty much every ingredient in there is horrible for the pet.
So, all right, let's stop and talk about that. A lot of people like to give snacks to their pets, and what should, if you have dogs that you love, what are the healthy snacks?
So fruits and vegetables other than grapes and raisins.